Alright, welcome back, Nick Lenz's Movie Reviews. This is episode number 31 and triple feature number 2. Now, the triple feature thing is like 3 movies that I talk about in the same video. Kind of like my triple like my triple shot at my Comic Corner classics / non-classics. This one I'm going to talk about the last 2 films of the Frankenstein film series, well, before the crossover ones. First one I'm talking about is Son of Frankenstein. Now, Son of Frankenstein is the last time until the 60s where Boris Karloff plays the monster. Yes. He does not appear as the monster in the following film, which I'll talk about soon. This film picks up, like, I'd say a little over 30 years after the events of the previous film where the lab was destroyed, and the actor who actually plays the son is Basil Rathbone, who is famous at this point in time for playing Sherlock Holmes in a series of 14 films. Yes, 14 films released in the 30s and 40s. Yes, that's what he was famous for. And unlike in those films where he was clean shaven, this one he has a mustache. Yes, though his character is officially the son of Frankenstein, and he does have a wife and a son. His wife's name was Elsa, and his son's name was Peter. Now, this film starts something that will continue up until around 1950. Universal teaming up Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. This is the first official time they've ever teamed up for a film. And in real life, these two could not stand each other at all. Well, mainly because Boris was getting a lot more work than frickin' Bella was. Yeah, he was getting a lot more work, and these two hated each other for years. Though in the case of Bela Lugosi, he managed to live about another... The film itself came out in 1939. He managed to live another 11 years before he passed away in 1950. In the case of Boris Karloff, he'd have passed away till like the 1970s, I believe it was. Yeah, I think it's the 70s. I'm just trying to remember this. So I come up here. When it does come up. Actually, it was 69. I was wrong. It was 69. That's when he passed away. So basically, he managed to live for another 30 years after this film, doing various other things. He himself did come back to the Frankenstein film series, this time playing the Doctor, in a completely unrelated Frankenstein film. So he didn't completely go away from these films. He just stopped wearing the makeup. He did wear the makeup in one era film, but yeah. But in this film, apparently Frankenstein survived, and apparently he's wearing, looks like a fur sack, I think he's wearing. Yeah, it's different. It's a completely different attire than he wore in the previous film. And also, the lab is completely different. And now apparently Frankenstein managed to survive. Apparently he's dying. But the one thing they introduced in this film, which is common in other Frankenstein adaptations, is the appearance of Igor, the hunchback assistant of Dr. Frankenstein. Now apparently it's kind of hinted at that now in this film he is not his assistant at all. Apparently he was the brother of the actor who played Radcliffe from Dracula, who was in the other, of course, that one he wasn't insane. Yeah, apparently he was also a former apprentice of Dr. Frankenstein, and that is how it's explained there. But yeah, the Frankenstein goes loose again, and Peter from Frankenstein gets taken captive. Yeah, not really much else. I mean, the story is pretty simple itself to talk about, but yeah, and this film is only an hour and 39 minutes. This movie is of the first 3 films the longest. 99 minutes. That's longer than the previous 2 films. Now, James Well is not the director of this film. Roland V. Lee. He is also the one who was the producer of this film. Yeah. And, I mean, it's basically, raise the pitchforks because the monster's on the loose again. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. In the Bride of Frankenstein film, he accidentally kills a little girl. In this film, he doesn't technically kill anybody at all. Not that I can think of, no. But it's still a good film nonetheless. It's still actually a pretty decent film for a third film in the series. And I highly recommend trying to track it down. This one is one I do not own at all, nor the Paul one to talk about next. But it's instant classic, 10 out of 10. Next one is Ghost of Frankenstein. This is the first one without Boris Karloff as the monster. This film is the first of 3 films to feature Glenn Strange as the monster. Yes. Actually, scratch that. It's not Glenn Strange. I forgot, it's not Glenn Strange. It is actually Lon Chaney Jr. who's playing the monster. Yes, Lon Chaney Jr. is playing the monster in the Ghost of Frankenstein film, which was released in 1942, well over a year after the release, actually like a year or two after the release of The Wolfman. I think it was. Let's see here. I think it was, yes. So for that. Now, the film Ghost of Frankenstein was released in 1942. And it is the last official film of this particular series. And the film itself is surprisingly, of the 4 main Frankenstein films before the crossover start, this one is short, only an hour and 7 minutes. And it basically features another son of Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah, and Igor managed to survive. How he survived is not really explained. Apparently his arm got damaged, despite the fact he was riddled with bullets. Yeah, it's kind of strange thing, even with the Mummy movie as well. Now the Frankenstein that's in this film, his name is Ludwig Frankenstein, and apparently he's an idiot, and he has no interest in it. He's kind of forced into it. And of course, monster gets revived again, and as for how the monster survived, completely unexplained. But here's something unique though. Apparently, the monster is blind in this film. Yeah, he's blind. Can't see very well, and apparently he can't really move that much. And he would do a stance. Lon Chaney Jr., he couldn't stand being the makeup. Like how this was the only time he played the monster. But he started a stance, basically, you know that stance where the monster just does, just has his arm stretched out like that? Yeah, Boris Karloff didn't start that. That was Lon Chaney Jr. And also they do something a bit bizarre, though. Apparently they do this thing of brain swapping, where apparently Igor his brain gets transferred to the mind of the monster. And it's basically Bela Lugosi talking through the monster. Okay, it's a bit bizarre to say the least. This one's a little bit of an oddball type film to watch, but it's still classic, nonetheless. And because of the fact it's a bit of a step down from the previous 3 films and no Boris Karloff, I'm giving the film at least a 9 out of 10. Alright? Next one I want to talk about, and maybe this will be the last one for this episode, I'm going to talk about The Mummy. Yes. Now, The Mummy. Now, here's something quite interesting about The Mummy. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 films in this series. 6. But after the first film, the next films completely ignore this. It's basically a semi-reboot. I'll talk more about the sequels, at least 2 of them in the next episode, but this one I want to talk about the first one, starring Boris Karloff as the Mummy. In case you're wondering, he only looks like this for about the opening. He only looks like this for about 10 minutes. Yes. Here's the DVD of The Mummy. Now, this film is only like an hour and 14 minutes. And here's something quite bizarre about this. Out of all the Mummy movies, this one is the of the ones released during the period of time they had Mummy movies coming out. Now, this one was quite long for what it is, and Boris Karloff does a great job playing the Mummy. Now, he assumes an identity, an alias, Ardif Bey, which some people are thinking, why does that name sound so familiar? You mean the guy who was a magi in the sort of remake? Yeah, the remake actually borrows a lot of stuff from the other films, and this was one they borrow a little bit from. They basically borrow elements from some of the bunch of others, but pretty much like he has to kidnap a woman because she's a reincarnation of his dead girlfriend. He wants to resurrect her. Also, I should point out that the director's film, Carl Fritron, he was the cinematographer on Dracula. And according to James Rolfe, apparently he made for all the mistakes that he made during Dracula, that he made during the shooting of Dracula itself. But it's still well shot, it looks gorgeous, and it's set in Egypt. And Zeta Jonan, I believe, yeah, this is the woman who plays the princess plus the girlfriend of modern day, apparently a reincarnation of. I'm just making sure of something here. Here we go. Yeah, she plays a woman named Helen Grosvenor, and she plays the Princess Oxynanon. That's who she plays in the past, and she's supposed to be reincarnation as woman. Yeah, but in case you're wondering, they use elements from this movie and a couple of the sequels from this one for the Mummy remake that came out in 1999. But the Mummy itself is classic, and I give the film a 10 out of 10. It's a great film to watch. Okay? So, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode where I'm going to go over the Mummy's Hand and the Mummy's Tomb. Okay? Till then, I will see you there. Bye.